Hi, I'm Sarah Fisher, Integrative Movement Specialist with the Institute for Integrative Health and Fitness Education.
And I'm Jenice. I'm the director here at the Institute for Integrative Health and Fitness Education.
And today we're going to talk about the Poochie Crunch and core cuing. So we're going to take a look at what happens.
So we are going to have Sarah show us what happens when we do a traditional crunch, and then we're going to show you why this is not optimal, because oftentimes people are doing crunches because they want their abs to appear and look smaller. So we call it the Poochie Crunch because of what actually happens when you go into a crunch position. So I'm just gonna put my hand on Sarah's abdomen here, and I just want you to see what happens as Sarah goes up into a traditional crunch type exercise. You can see she starts to form this Poochie belly right here that's rising up as she goes into that crunch position. So what do we do to counteract that? Traditionally, people will say, go ahead and pull your abs in, draw your belly button to your spine, and that should help control that Poochie belly. So I'm gonna have Sarah do that. So she's gonna pull her belly button towards her spine, engage her abs, and then she's gonna go ahead and do that crunch again. And she's still actually getting a little bit of a pooch even with that. So go ahead and relax, Sarah. My bigger concern with that cue is this. When I ask Sarah, I'm going to put my hand underneath her low back on her lumbar spine. When I ask Sarah to go ahead and pull your abs in, engage your core, immediately what happens is her lumbar vertebrae drop down into my hand, putting her spine in spinal flexion. Go ahead and relax. Good. So now when I say, Sarah, go ahead and pull your abs in, engage your core, and now come up and do your crunch. Now that puts even more pressure, and relax, into my hand, meaning there's more pressure going into her lumbar spine. And one of the number one causes of people going to the doctor is low back pain. So if we know that, but yet we're cueing people to engage and to do an exercise that creates more pressure and flexion in an area that's not meant to maintain heavy loads of flexion, perhaps that's not the best core exercise we could be giving our clients. So what do we do about that? So the next thing I'm gonna have Sarah do is show you a common exercise that we do besides a crunch to help with core strength and making the core look better, which is the plank. So Sarah's gonna show you the traditional plank first of how people are normally coached in doing it. So she's going in, she's getting her arms in there, she's pulling in her abs, she's sucking in her glutes, and oftentimes people are told to pull down through their shoulders. But you can see already Sarah's starting to get that same thing, all this pressure in her low back. So Sarah, come out of that. And we're not saying that planks are a bad exercise. They're actually a really great exercise, but it's how we cue and coach them for success. We talk about creating a stable, strong core with good spinal health. We need to make sure that we're respecting the natural curves of the spine when we're setting up for that plank position. So Sarah's gonna show you the best way to do that, which is to create length from the back of your head as though you're being pulled towards the ceiling. Lift and suspend the ribs, and that doesn't mean she's lifting this direction. She's actually lifting this direction up in the back, again, to create that length. Then she's going to bring herself down, keeping this in alignment, respecting those spinal curves. And then she's looking for this straight line here between her pelvis and her shoulders and her head and neck. But if Sarah was to go back into that more traditional type position, she would actually then be putting that flexion through her spine as well. So now again, she's loaded that low back and that lumbar spine. So you could say, well, Sarah's butt was in the air. We're not concerned about Sarah's butt in the air. We're more concerned about her alignment of her spine while she's under that type of load. So that was, quote unquote, an easier version of doing the plank. Sarah's a strong, stable, and has worked at doing this kind of plank position. So she's going to show you what it can look like so it looks more traditional as what people are used to, but it is an advanced position. So again, she's created her length. She's suspending through her ribs. She's got a good breath, and she's going into that position. But what you'll notice as she brings her legs back, she still maintains this alignment here. She's not squeezing her glutes, she's not pulling her abs in, but she's working to control her rib cage over top of her pelvis, which is a challenging core exercise. Thank you, Sarah. So Sara showed you the two more advanced version of doing that. You can work people from the down dog position to do this. You can have people actually start at the wall, and that's where we have them start so that they understand what it means to maintain this length, create this suspension, maintain what we call the thoracopelvic cylinder alignment. So we take them down into more of these floor type planks, but this is a high end progression to do it correctly, and that's always the challenge, is doing it correctly. Not that your clients can't do it, your clients plank all day long. That's what plank challenges are all about. So it's not that they can't do a plank, but it's the way in which they're doing it that's either hindering or helping them, especially when we talk about spinal health. And when we think about aesthetics, they are important. We can't tell our clients that it's not important. However, the longevity and the health of their spine and their joints is more important. We know that oftentimes how we look is much more controlled in the kitchen than it is in exercise. Not that exercise is not important, but how we deliver that exercise to our clients is essential. And they look to us as the experts to make sure that we're helping them with that. And that's really what our Women's Fitness Weekend is all about. It's how do we take our clients who are post-surgery, like hysterectomy, C-sections, even if that has been decades earlier, what has happened to their body since that surgery happened. And oftentimes one of the things is they develop some non-optimal strategies for core strength and stabilization. So day one, we're going to talk about working with our clients post-surgery. That's going to be on Friday during our Women's Fitness Weekend. And then on Saturday, we're going to progress that information into how do we create the best strategies for spinal and joint health when we're teaching core exercises, and how the core, non-optimal and optimal, can have a global effect over the whole body when we think about the other joints like the shoulder joint, the hip joints, the foot, the knee, the neck.
Yes.
Everything.
The spine.
Yes. So Sara and I hope that you can join us. It's March 6th and 7th. March 6th is a half day and late in the afternoon. We're going to talk specifically about working with your clients, your female clients, post-surgery. We're actually going to make sure that you leave with a strategic way to address your clients post-surgery. You'll have success with that because we're going to teach you how to assess properly to make sure that what you're doing with your clients is either helping or hindering what they're trying to do. And then on Saturday, we're going to spend the day talking about the core and how do we create good spinal and joint health when we're teaching core exercises. So we hope you can join us. It'll be a fun weekend. We're going to be a small group. We're going to workshop the entire weekend so you yourself can experience the information in your own body so that you can then share it with your clients and become the resource that not only that they think they want, but they also really need. Thanks so much and have a great day.